Hello, welcome back. If you're following along, whether you're watching the videos right now or you're following on YouTube later, for the month of October, I'll be streaming every single day, and we will be building a bit of forum software built with Next.js and GraphQL. It's backed by Hasura, and for the last few days, we have been building out all of the functionality for anyone who is kind of wanting to sign up, create a thread, create a discussion, in the future, mark those as answered. And one of the other features we want to do for anyone who owns a thread is to lock it. So if things get out of hand and the debate between TypeScript and JavaScript gets too heated and you want to lock it, well, we're going to bake that functionality right in for thread owners. And it should be fairly simple to do. We have a GraphQL backend, a database with Hasura, and we created the permissions in the first video. And what we said was, for a user, the permissions are, if you are the author of the thread, because it matches the user ID in the JWT, then you've got full rights to go ahead and update that thread. Well, if you don't, sorry, you just ain't getting in. And you've got the rights to update every column. Maybe it's not the ID. Probably never going to update that. And update that and the, create that? Well, probably ain't going to be able to update those. Those are managed by Hasura automatically for us. And yeah, we don't need to do anything else other than save those permissions. So let's dive in and have a look at where we are at and what we need to do next. So this is the state and where we are at currently. It doesn't look too beautiful, but we've kind of just been throwing some ad hoc styles in here and there. We're using Tailwind, and as the kind of month progresses, we'll go back and we'll address making this look a little nicer. But right now, just kind of rough placement of things is what we're interested in. So probably going to now, I'm the author of this thread, so I want to, in this video, create a little button somewhere to mark this thread as locked and prevent any further replies. So if we click this little edit, we can obviously update those posts. We created that in yesterday's video, I think. So go back and see if you're interested in using React MDE with React Markdown and allowing users to edit posts, and we send a mutation to Hasura to update those posts. So now let's dive in and figure out how we are going to edit posts and set them as locked. So we open up the thread ID page, and we're learning together here, right? I've not prepared this, not really any episode I haven't prepared other than kind of think when I wake up that day, what are we going to work on? And today I've decided we're going to work on marking threads as locked. So why don't we write a mutation to lock a thread? We've got some mutations for like updating posts and certain likes. I'm just going to place this one here. We will refactor all of these queries and mutations into their own files. But yeah, we'll do that in another episode. So yeah, let's create a mutation. We'll give it a name, and let's just say it's update locked status. This will be a GraphQL mutation, and we'll give it a name of just update locked status. This will take in some arguments, and the arguments will be the ID, I'm guessing, of... It's going to follow the format of this, right? It's basically the same. We could probably reduce this into one mutation, if I'm completely honest. And we can just send down in the variables what we need. But let's just keep this really... just keep this separate. It's really easy to follow, and it's, you know, it's really clear. So we'll just follow the same format, I guess. We'll just do this inside of here. So we're going to update, not posts, but this time we're going to update threads by the primary key. The primary columns that we want to filter on to fetch the record will be the ID. So we'll just say that ID is of type UUID. And then we won't set message, but what we will do is we will set the locked status, and the locked will simply be a Boolean. And we can see here we'll set locked to be locked. And if we can pass true or false in there, and that will lock or unlock the thread. Why don't we test this out in Hasura in GraphQL just to make sure we are doing all the right things. So let's first, well, we can't get message on a thread, can we, Jamie? No, we can't. We'll return locked. Maybe we'll return updated because we may want to show when the thread was last updated. I don't know. Let's not. Obviously, we need to pass in the variables. The first variable will be ID. And then let's change lock to true. Then, let's just, thanks for the comment if you just joined. We are building forum software with Next.js and GraphQL. And yes, I do think it's awesome. Thank you very much. Rightio, so back to GraphQL. We'll need to now insert the ID of the thread. Just say this one here, and we'll go back into GraphQL, and we'll insert that ID, and we'll run this mutation. So now this thread is locked. If we go here and refresh, well, we don't even have to refresh. SWR is going to refresh the data for us. And we scroll down there, and we see the reply box is gone. And that's because in another video, we kind of toggle the behavior based whether or not the thread is locked to show the reply box. And you know, if it's locked, we don't show that reply box, and nobody else can interact with it. So that's cool. We haven't got to do anything on the UI point of view apart from add a button and maybe some text below the title here to say whether or not it is locked. So why don't we do just that by show a message somewhere. I'm not too concerned about the styling of all of this. I just want to get functionality going, and then we can kind of revisit all of the functionality. So if it is locked, let's just display a simple span. We'll just say this has got background. Should we do red? And then we'll say, we'll just make that kind of a lighter red and make the text red. I don't know, that's 800. We'll add a bit of room. And then we will say it's rounded full. And maybe it's uppercase. And we'll say it is locked. Now if we go back, whoa, that is big. That's because it's inside of the H1, Jamie. Let's just place it below the bottom here. I correct myself up. Let's just place it below there. It still looks a bit big. Yeah, so that's fine for now, right? We can add a little button to unlock. Maybe in the future we'll put it in a drop down. Like drop down to lock or edit title or whatever. But let's just leave it there for now. And we're getting that from the GraphQL query. That we fetch here, we fetch whether or not the thread is locked. And that's how that is known whether it's locked or not. Right. Now then. We're going to need a way to tell if we are the author of this page. So let's check out how we'll do that. First of all, let's just put a button in here. And we'll do button on click runs that mutation. That will be handle lock. And we'll just say the appearance, not the appearance, the class name. We'll just set to appearance none for the moment. And we'll just say pattern as 1. And then we'll toggle based on whether it's locked or not. If it's locked, we'll say unlock. And if it's not locked, we'll say locked. Handle lock, we will need to create a function. And that will literally just call the mutation with the Boolean true or false that we need to do. So let's now below here, we'll create const handle lock, and it doesn't need to take in anything because we already have those variables. Although it's often nice to do so because, you can use that function. It's very functional, but we'll just do this. We'll just try to update the thread with the new status. So we'll do const, let's just say it's going to return the value of our mutation, which is update threads by pk. It's not going to return message, is it? It's going to return ID and locked. So let's update that while we are at it. So it's going to return update threads by pk in the response. So we'll destructure that response, and we will await hasura.request. This time, this will be, update locked status, and then the variables will be ID. ID is already being destructured, I think. Are we already destructuring ID? Yes, we are. ID is from the query, which is good. And then we will need to pass in the locked boolean value. So this will be data.threads by pk .locked. And we could do this. We could just do that. That would, in some roundabout way, just work fine. And then we'll call mutate, and we will pass in everything we've got from data already, and then we will pass in, we'll spread in that response, which should work, he says. Finally, we will do a catch, and we'll console log that error. Right, we have a button. The button is hooked up. Locked is not defined, so we'll go ahead and define locked, and then we should be able to get going. So I'm thinking maybe we could destructure this, since we're calling it more than once. We could make our lives a little simpler with managing the code here. So let's go up to the top, and we're not destructing it already. I kind of don't want to do it there. Nah. We'll refactor that later. I don't want to go off on a tangent because I have ideas on how we can make that better. Let's just get it working. So I can click unlock. Now the thread is not locked, but that button has disappeared because that button only shows when the thread is locked. That's not what we want. We want to display it outside of there. So we'll remove that fragment. I don't know what I was thinking. And we'll just set a class name of flex. And the items will be centered. Then we'll put all of that inside the div. And we should be good, he says. Lock is not defined. What am I doing? There we go. So I can click lock. Thread is locked. Can't reply. I can click it again. Thread is now unlocked, and I can reply. So that was cool. And yeah, let's create another testing locked thread. Did I create one already? No, I don't think we did. You cannot reply to this thread because I have locked it. Mwahaha. We'll post that. And there we go. We can, like we did yesterday, we can update that. We could save that. And then we get the updated timestamp. So it was posted today, and this was the new timestamp that it was posted. And that will work. And then let's lock it so we're actually telling the truth. What we probably could do on the form to create a new thread is we could say, we could say lock lock at that point. I might want to just post an announcement or change log, and it doesn't really warrant any replies. It's just more of an announcement, and we can lock it as we're creating the thread. So we'll probably do that when we come to refactor the post a new thread page. We can add a little checkbox in here somewhere. If you are a moderator or an administrator, you can go ahead and do that. Yeah, so that is good. What we next need to do is we need to show only the lock button if you are the author. So we'll do is author. If that is correct, as truthy, we will display this button. And are we checking to see whether it's an author anywhere? No, we're not. So let's fetch user from the user state, and on post list, or on post we may be doing this. User author is authenticated, and the user ID is equal to the user ID. So we need the same logic here, more or less. So I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to put this at the top. And if we're authenticated and let's just move this down a little bit. Not that that makes any difference. We'll do data threads by primary key .author.id. Cannot read property ID of undefined. That is probably because we are not querying. We are. No, we're not. Author ID. Now then. We have that there. Let's go incognito and check the same thing. So on the left, I can mark it as unlocked. And if I click unlock, the reply box will show. If I focus on here, it will remove that little badge that it's locked. It won't show the reply because we are not logged in. If we do log in, whoops, and we just create a new account here and sign in. If we go to that lock thread, I can lock it, and I'm the author, so I can toggle that button, but on here it's locked and I can no longer mark it as locked because I'm not the author of that thread. So we've got that button working now. I can unlock, go back here, the reply box will show, so I can reply. I can like this, go back here, that'll update the number there. I can refresh back here automatically. SWR is handling that for us. I can lock the thread and it does it. How magic is that? It just feels real. It feels like it's real time. As I move between them, it's just kind of revalidating the page with that on the client. And then when I refresh the page, Next will kind of rebuild the static page for us as well, which is just amazing. Just try this edit one more time. We'll remove that and we'll click reply. Then we'll see that it was posted today and then it was updated minutes later. So we got that working pretty well. Obviously ignore the styling for all this locked stuff. We'll improve that in a bit. Right. So let's just quickly create a branch. Lock, unlock threads. And we'll just throw everything in. Lock and unlock thread button. We will create a pull request for that. And we'll get going. So GitHub PR create, we'll create that, and we'll say this closes issue number 32. We'll save that and continue. If we go here, we'll see this thread has been mentioned inside of a pull request. We click on that. It will deploy to the cell, won't it? Yes, it will. Then we can check that out in the staging environment. And at this point, the other issue, we'll do delete thread tomorrow. Prevent the first post from being deleted. We will probably do that tomorrow as well. Mark threads as locked. We've just done that. Mark threads as answered. Because answered posts, they go on their own dedicated page. Answered and unanswered. So it's kind of just a global way to view every single thing on the site that's either been answered or unanswered. So we could probably just create the button as well for that. Let's just do a git checkout main. And where is that pull request gone? Squash and merge. Great. We'll pull that down. And we'll switch to a new branch. And we'll say this is mark. Mark as answered. Not consistent with branch naming. Now then, we just really want to do like update answered. Status, it's more or less the same. Locked becomes answered. That changes to answered, and so does that. We do that. We run this mutation. It's the same thing. It's just updating a different boolean. So this should be fairly straightforward to do. So update locked status. We'll just bump that down. Duplicate that. Update answered status. We will move these to different files. I know these are getting on a bit now, but we will move these to a different file. Then we're just going to call that in a button. So probably is inside of here. We'll just duplicate that and say answered. And that will be answered. And instead of red, we'll go green. And again, if it's an author, we'll render these two buttons. We will put this in a drop down, no doubt, at some point. And this will be handle answer. And then we'll say, if it's answered, mark as unanswered. Mark as answered if it isn't. So this handle answer, we will just duplicate what we're doing for handle lock. We could simplify this even more by creating one function that takes in a mutation and the arguments and spreads it back in. We'll probably do that in the refactoring stage. But for now, we'll just say handle answered, and then it will return update threads by primary key. And it's no longer updated lock status for the mutation. It was updated answered status. And of course, we do want to send in the current value, the opposite of the current value of answered. Save that. Go back to localhost. We'll refresh. And now we'll mark this as answered. It's not doing anything. What did we do wrong, Jamie? It's not returning the locked status, that's why. So we're getting all threads, we're getting the locked. We need to also fetch the answered status. And I believe, yes, we updated that, so that should be fine. So, awesome. There we have it. You see that we have a answered button, and if I click mark it as unanswered, that will remove that badge as well. So let's go to another thread. Test an answered thread. That is answered. And if we go to answered posts, you'll see that those two are in there because those are marked as answered. And if I go back to, I don't know, this one here, TypeScript APIs and markup, I'm not the author, so I can't mark this thread as answered or lock it. It's the same name, but I created two accounts with the same name. Don't ask me why, but I can't update that thread. So that's why we don't have any buttons there. But if I go to, well, this one, I'm not the author either. However, in the future, we will introduce the capability for a moderator or an admin to set that status. So what we'd probably end up doing is where we are doing, where is it now? Is author. I may change this to like can manage, and then we'll say if it is the author or it's an admin, then go on, do what you need to do. You've got full permission. Yeah, so that is handling answered posts, which was straightforward. Now, it'd be nice to put a badge in here. We'll probably create a component for that, so we can clearly see that. Why don't we, on the thread component, and we update the index component, we are fetching whether it's answered or locked. Why don't we just display that badge we created here on those pages as well? Just because we can. Only if it's answered. We'll not display like unanswered. Maybe if it's locked as well. So let's put this inside of answered, unanswered, locked, or answered. We want to display the badge. There's no point unless someone is reading the title and goes, oh, I want to read more about that and interact. They may think I'm looking for things to kind of answer or get involved with. If it's locked, then there's really no point to click on it. So what do we have where? Probably it's best to put it directly after there. Inside. So if it's pinned, it displays a little icon. So we've got that to contend with as well, haven't we? Okay. We could just put the icon before the title as well. And we'll say locked. And let's go to remix icon. We didn't get an icon for locked already, I don't think. We're using that. So when this decides to load, we will find a locked icon. Lock. Lock. What are we thinking? Full. We'll do the full one. We'll place that SVG inside of there. We'll grab the styles. We'll get rid of that one. We'll get rid of these and just place that there. Then now, if we go back to the index, I'm hoping this will work. Yeah, we'll go. We've got the icon for locked. And if we click on general, you'll see we get the icon for pinned and locked. If I go to the pin thread and lock it, I wonder what happens then. Do they stack up? Yes, they do. So that is a pinned locked thread. And pin threads don't show on the index. We're not querying for pinned. We're not ordering by pinned. So, you know, we don't need to pin it at the top of every page or pin every pin post to the index page. It's probably not worth doing at the moment. Let's just keep it simple. But this is the category view. So it makes sense to kind of pin categories at the top. And obviously, we can go to one of these posts, and if we're the author, we can lock them. And answered, I don't know what we would do for answered posts. Would we just display an icon? Maybe that's when we put text at some point. Maybe we have a date time for answered at, so we can see when it was answered. I don't know how helpful that is. I don't even know how helpful answered and unanswered posts are, but we'll go with the flow. We'll remove answered for now, and we'll just display the little lock icon if it's locked on the category page and this page, the index. Answered posts. Let's just display it there as well. So we'll go to answered page. We're displaying locked. Unanswered. Yep, we're querying locked as well. So that will show the lock icon when a post is, like if we go to this test and locked thread, then mark it as answered and go to answered posts, it displays the lock there, and that's the kind of effect we want it to do. And we'll mark that as unanswered. Cool, so we've made pretty good progress today. We've added the ability to lock and unlock threads and mark threads as answered, which is cool. I don't think there's anything else we need to do there. Today's posts, I can see that I created a post test and lock thread today, which is good. We'll just push that up. I know we did a bit more in there, but I'm not being really strict on individual commits for this. Let's just get everything up online. Then we'll do git pr create body. That will be closes issue 25. Issues, maybe it's 25. 31. Close that, submit that pull request, and we'll see here the pull request is building. Now, what else have we got to do before we merge that in, or after we merge that in? We want a page to update the profile of the user. Maybe change password as a separate page. We just add a profile to change a name. It seems fairly straightforward, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. How long have we been streaming? 35 minutes. Edit profile form. I'll probably push to tomorrow's stream, and we'll do that then. And then I'll have a think about passwords as well. So we'll say update password. allow users to change passwords. We'll submit that. Maybe it's a forgot password as well. Forgot password form. Allow people to request a password reset. So we'll have a look at that. We'll investigate what's required there when we get back to it. We still need a page for new post activity. That will be based on the current user's last seen date time, and then the date time of posts. We should be able to fetch any new posts that's created after I was last seen, which is nice, because already in users, did we create a column for last seen? Yes, we did. It doesn't update though. We probably need to update that every single time we log in or view a page. I'm not sure. I don't like updating the user record every single time we change page. It just seems a bit silly. Maybe it's fine, but I'm not sure if that's even worth doing. I don't know if we could use Hasura events. You know, we could publish stuff from the front end as an event, and then it's just kind of added to an event queue to update. It's the same thing. It just kind of takes the stress off the front end returning anything. It just kind of throws it into a queue, and it can be done whenever. I'll have a think on the best way we can go about that. And the simplest way, probably is not the best way, the simplest way for what we are building in October. So we've got a few more issues. If we have a look at MVP, see what we've done already. We've got 4 open. This answered one can be merged. So we've got 3 remaining issues to do for the MVP, where it's pretty much got everything we need, I think, for a forum. We can create threads, reply to threads, update posts, mark them as locked, and what have you. Maybe as we add one more to the MVP, update thread title. As the thread owner, as a thread author, I want to be able to update the thread title. We'll add that to the MVP milestone. And let's just check what we've done. We've done quite a bit, and since the 1st, that's 8 days we've been at this. Couple of hours per day on a stream, streaming every single part of the build. So pretty pleased with how it's gone. We've got a lot in there. Yeah, I'll probably wrap up this stream today, and I'll be streaming again tomorrow, where we will take on some more of the MVP issues that are remaining, and then we can kind of go from there. Maybe so we can get to styling the forum and making it look a little nicer than it does currently. So yeah, thanks very much for watching today. All of the code is available at github.com/notrab/Jamstack forum. I'm not sure on the name Jamstack forum. I'm kind of I just want to think on a different name. If you've got any suggestions, please let me know. And we can decide on a name together. So yeah, let me know if you've got a suggestion on what we should name this, and reply to this issue, or send me a DM or comment on the video or whatever, and we can just go with it. See if it works. See if everyone's happy, and we can get going. So thanks very much for watching today, And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow and we'll do some more coding with Next.js and GraphQL.